Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to the Audio Analyst. Today, I'm very excited to bring you the introduction of a new accessory from one of today's leading electronics manufacturers, Germany's Audionet. Now, to discuss their remarkable new patented paramagnetic cable riser, the Gauss, I'm joined by three distinguished guests. The owner and CEO of Audionet, Dr. Stefan Schwer, joins us from Berlin. Audionet's brand director, my friend Jan Geschke, joins us from Hamburg. And a good friend who you've seen on this channel before, the North American importer of Audionet products, Bill Parrish of GTT Audio. He joins us from Long Valley, New Jersey. Now, those of you who have followed my work over the past few decades will be aware that I've been a steadfast champion of getting your speaker cables up off the listening room floor. How and why does that possibly matter? Anytime an alternating current, the audio signal being transmitted from your amplifier to your speakers, is being conducted through a wire, it creates a rapidly pulsing magnetic field around it, extending away from the wire in a varying cylindrical field. Every time that signal alternates, the magnetic field of the signal collapses, then re-expands as it reverses many thousands of times a second. Morning, sweetie. Now, with our loudspeaker cables resting on our floors, one half of that cylindrical pulsating magnetic field generated around the cable is expanding and contracting into the air above the floor and its covering. The half below the cable is expanding and contracting not into air, but into the materials that make up the floor and its covering. Everything presents a different degree of permeability to magnetic fields. Now, a vacuum presents absolutely no impact on magnetic permeability, and air is a very close second. However, the stronger, more deleterious effects on permeability offered by materials like our flooring and carpeting are much more reactive. Now, this means that the electromagnetic permeability above and below our loudspeaker cables can be remarkably different. Lying on our audio room floors, bare floors of wood, tile, or some other laminate, even cement, or worse yet, some varying type of density of carpeting, creates an imbalance in the field of permeability above and below the cable. Now, while most carpeting is formulated from materials chosen for their durability, wear, or stain resistance, no consideration whatsoever is given to their electromagnetic interactions. The unavoidable result is that our cables are now subjected to an imbalance, an asymmetrical degree of permeability above and below the cables. The air above the cables and the conspicuously different materials below the cables introduces a discontinuity to the rate at which the electromagnetic field expands and contracts above the cable and below it. This impedes the uniform expansion and contraction of the cylindrical magnetic field around our cables. Now, as such, any additional amount, and especially any additional asymmetrical amount of disparate materials that the signal encounters, such as that presented by the carpet or flooring the cable is lying upon, affects the rate, completeness, and uniformity of that expanding and collapsing field. The materials under the cable impede that rapidly changing magnetic field, affecting its rate of change, presenting completely different degrees of reactance to the half of the field extending below the cable than to the half extending above it into only air. My position for several decades now has been that the result of this effect can be heard as a smearing of fine detail, lumpy tonality or timbral imbalances, brightening or dulling of portions of the frequency bandwidth, corrupted timing, and obliterated detail, essentially affording a gross slurring to the signal. The point is, you need to get your loudspeaker cables up off the floor. When I discussed this matter in episode 22, which dropped in October of 2020, Jan not only heard me, but he took my assertion and assumption as to why it mattered to heart, and voila, the Gauss was born. Here's our discussion.
Okay. All right, everybody, here we are. Couple of special guests today from Germany, one from New Jersey. Everybody, how about introducing yourself? Jan?
Hello, Greg. Totally
Hi.
great to see you. I am Jan Geschke. I'm with Audionet. I'm a brand director. I'm doing some lots of creative work for the company, and I've been producing music since 1990, actually. So yeah, that's what I do.
Dr. Schwerer, hello.
Oh no, not that official, that formal. My name is Stefan Schwer. Of course, even though I have a PhD title, but this is from the microelectronics world when I started my professional time. So I'm Stefan from Audionet, CEO and owner since almost 4 years now. And yeah, you know all these machines, and we are going to talk about Gauss today.
Yes. Mr. Parrish?
Well, I think everyone on your channel knows me. I've been a regular guest, but Bill Parrish from GTT Audio, and I'm privileged to be the North American importer of Audionet.
Good news, guys. Thanks all of you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Stefan, would you like to open the conversation about Gauss, the new cable riser from Audionet?
Yeah, thank you, Greg, for giving the word. So first of all, I think we should raise for the first time this little piece of non-electronics, but which helps to improve the sound in super high-end sound setups. So it's a cable lifter, and a very special cable lifter we will talk about here. And before we talk about the technicals behind, I would be happy that you, Jan, and Greg would share some words about the history, because when Jan approached me, what do you think about this kind of a product? I was talking to him, and he told me that the first contact was together with you, that we saw these cable lifters in almost every installation in the United States and some shows. And yeah, let's have you first of all have a little words about the history.
Jan, go ahead, talk about this, buddy.
Yeah, maybe the first thing here would be to say a huge thank you to Mr. Greg Weaver, who really gave us the initial thing to get into this direction. Because when we talked on the phone and asked him, well, it was in the beginning of 2020, like Corona summer coming, and
well, I believe it. Part of this was spurred by something I had said in episode 22, where I was talking about things you can do for virtually no money to improve the sound of your system. Exactly. And I was taken by the fact that you actually tried it and had a bit of an aha moment. So let's go from there.
Yeah, the fun thing was, if I remember correctly, that you you said a nice thing to do would be cardboard rolls from loo rolls, and just put the cable on there, and that would help. And I asked why, and you said, well, the magnetic fields does something with the magnetic field. Yeah, so I started thinking about that, and I did lots of research and came to most interesting conclusions, like where the signal travels actually, not really inside of the cables like most of the signals. I think Stefan can explain that much better than me.
I think what you're referring to, Jan, is that most of us, at least people my age here in the United States, as we grew up, we were taught electronics and physics that they use the analogy of a hose, that electrons flow through a hose like water through a cable, when in fact that is nothing like what actually happens.
No electron ever. Yeah, that was the fun thing to find out, that actually no electrons travel from the amp to the speakers. So what's really happening? Where is the signal moving? The signal is in an electromagnetic field. And most of that is outside of the cable, like around the cable. It's very close. It gets less intensive fast.
It alternates with the alternating current, so it expands and contracts repeatedly through the cable.
Yeah, so you have a constantly moving electromagnetic field.
Now, talk to us about the construction of these particular Gausses. The thing that fascinated me was the fact that they're a relatively new alloy of magnesium and aluminum that has only come to primarily the defense market originally, right?
Yeah, it's a material that's called almighty, like aluminum magnesium alloy. It's a new invention. It's like 3 years old by a client of mine who catered to the worldwide shipping and aircraft industry. And when I thought about which material would be best from the electromagnetic properties, I looked up tons of things, and the funny thing was that the Almighty was for the paper form actually the best material right after air, because any material on the planet has an electric and a magnetic property, and yeah, what we're basically trying is to be as close as to air as
To air, sure.
And this alloy comes closer to air than anything but air.
Now these are 3D printed. They're lasered into existence, correct?
Yeah, this Almighty material is extremely complicated to laser. Actually, it takes a machine that costs €500,000. So we don't do it ourselves because we build other machines. And we contracted that out to a company who are producing turbine parts for the Eurofighter and other aircraft. And this is the grade of quality we get here. It's really aircraft quality.
Yeah. And now they're beautiful. They're light. In our measurement system, they're just about 3 inches tall, just under 2 inches wide. I think they're gorgeous, and I'll put some pictures up so you can see better details. But I think they look really nice.
Yeah, they really are just absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning. Where some of the pictures on social media, it's like, what the hell is that? But
yeah, they don't do it justice.
It's very hard. But these things, when you get them in your hand and you look at, you could understand why there's a $500,000 machine or €500,000 machine building these things. This is not something that can be 3D printed. I mean, this is like something from the watch industry, or as Jan's saying, the space industry is what they're doing here. So they're just the fit and finish and the detail on these things are just absolutely phenomenal. Go ahead, Greg. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's what you're here for, buddy. Now, if you look at this, you can see the little V-type attachment at the top, which cradles your cable as it sits in this. Now, Jan, you want to talk about what? I mean, I don't know if you want to go off into the measurements, but I know you guys have done a tremendous amount of measurements to find how minimally invasive or virtually non-invasive these devices are. And then let's talk about what they do for the systems that we're listening to. What do you think?
I think I should amend a little words about the deeper technology, because you were talking about the current flowing, what we learned in school, and you're absolutely right. We learned in school that there is a current which is definitely measurable, but on the other side there's also a field, and but after school it's typically in the first lectures of electronics that you learn about the interdependence. That's the word.
Yes.
Of the fields and the currents.
Yes.
Maybe you heard about the Maxwell's equations, which relates then the current to the field and vice versa. And since these currents and these equations show that it's not only the field which is in vacuum normally optimum, you are under realistic conditions. You have, as you said, you have materials like wood, like floor, like air, and therefore
carpet's one of the worst in my opinion, sir.
Yeah, and the major, let's say, the major drawback of cables lying on the floor is that you have a step of different materials between the air, which covers half of the cable, and the floor, which lies on the other side beneath the cable. And this, even though the materials might have quite close values in these permeability, there's still a step in difference, and this makes a step in this disturbs, so far. Simply said, this disturbs the electromagnetic field, and since the electromagnetic field has also vice versa a interdependence to the current, so finally the current and the field, which contributes to the transport of the signal to the loudspeakers, is not as optimal as it could be if the cable was inside a material like air or a homogeneous surrounding. Yeah. So that's why we raise these cables on a material which has on the other side these V-type points, where you say they should also be as small and slim as possible, even though, as Jan explained, we took a material which is as close as possible to the value of air. So it's an optimization what we did. It's a
so he shows gigantic tables on these, and it works.
Yeah, so it's on one side very slim, and it feels, it looks very slim and not very durable. But as Jan showed, now he put the bottle of wine on it, so even these small and slight pieces which carry the cable can even carry thick cables and thin cables and heavy cables. So with that, it's really an optimization in every direction, be it the material, be it the form, and be it on the other side also the height, because we don't need more than these 4 to 5 centimeters. That's what Jan and I discovered when we did all the measurements, that raising the cable more than 5 centimeters doesn't really make sense. In order to improve the signal. So that's what we discovered in many sessions of practical investigations, and on the other side, on a theoretical side, looking at the Maxwell's equations and what to do in order to optimize what needs to be optimized when the cable carries the sound signal.
That's really fascinating stuff. I said it in one of my, I've been saying it since the 1990s, but my statement was that when you have a cable lying on the floor, as this field expands and contracts repeatedly, there's air above it, and whatever's below it, it's going to impede that magnetic field somehow. And that tends to cause audible things with the cable. And one of the things that I've always said that I found made a difference when I got my cables off the floor, and initially I was just, like I had mentioned with Jan, I was just using cardboard tubes because they were minimally invasive for free, basically, was that I don't know that it was so much about tonal performance overall, though there was quite a bit of that. One of the things that was most impressive to me was the change in things like microdynamic capabilities and even dynamic capabilities at times. Jan, why don't you talk about the kind of things that some of the testers beta testers in Germany and Europe have heard with these lifters?
Yeah, we when you come up with a product that most people have never seen or heard of, it's it's always good to have some people in the know testing it and giving your impression. So we got some people in the industry that we know that they have fantastic ears and are really in the know what's audiophile and what's not. And like we got the founder of Dana Audio. He was Wilfried Ehrenholz, who was himself an excellent engineer. And when I told him about these things, he wouldn't believe it. So I thought,
I'm sure that's a common reaction.
Yeah. that is the reaction of many people. He installed them at home, and he said, "Okay, I want these, and I will never do a show without these in the future." So he was first. Then came several testers of German magazines, like the excellent Johannes Strom from Audio Test. He got a few of those. He said he couldn't believe what he heard. He said he wants these in their testing room. They will never do a test without these anymore. He did some measurements himself and said, "Oh my God, this is working."
Yeah.
He even wrote in the magazine that it seemed to him that they had never heard real high end before, thanks to the subwoofers. So
Yeah.
it was maybe a bit over the top, but same thing. Joachim Pfeiffer, the long-time editor-in-chief of German Audio, very well-known guy, excellent ears. When I told him about these Gausses, he said, "This can't be true." I said, "Well, just listen to them." We sent him a couple of those, eight pieces, I think. 3 months, nothing happened. Then he called and said, "I just wrote an 8 pages piece on these." Unbelievable. This has been published now. We have an English translation as well.
I'll include links to these things in the description section today, Jan.
Thank you. So I won't have to read it. Great. So
you can mention snippets if you want, but I will publish the links to this below.
Yeah, it's probably better if people read what's in there, and not what an Audionet guy is telling them what's in there. So let's stick.
Well, I will mention that mileage may vary with different systems, but that I have always found getting speaker cables off the ground helped, and that the Gauss in particular is exceptionally productive. I mean, these things, they're beautiful. My wife doesn't mind them. It's like, what were those ugly cardboard things? She's like, what are those? Those are cute. And they work.
She noticed them, huh?
Yeah. She doesn't notice much, but she loves the red. Okay, that was one thing. But other than that, she doesn't notice much. But she liked those.
They're like little pieces of jewelry.
They really are. They're gorgeous. And I hope the pictures.
Hartmut Esslinger, the Apple designer, who's a friend of our company, he said, "I don't know why, but I like these. This is good design." And when Hartmut says this,
they're really gorgeous.
All the Apple things. Maybe one interesting thing Joachim Pfeiffer, the ex-editor-in-chief of Audionet, of audio, did. He actually went out and bought and borrowed lots of other cable raisers of other companies, and he tested them all against Gauss, and he said, "I don't know why, but these are much, much better than everything else." Yeah.
So when we start talking about the market, we have even first real customers here in Germany who bought really blind, without testing. Even they had the opportunity to read one of these articles, but they bought blind the Gausses, and they sent congratulation emails, which I could also translate if you want to. But even in German, they say, "Congratulations! This is a very, very impressive piece of engineering." And from the very first beginning, it works in my setup. So this really congratulations, which I did not request it, because I only told them, and they
One of those
said,
guys wrote, "I have no fucking idea how these work, but they totally work."
Yeah.
And another guy
really
who was just in to buy another piece of equipment from us, and he listened to them and he ordered 18 pieces.
Yeah.
Well, unsolicited appreciation is much better than the ones that you ask for. So to me, that's pretty high praise. Somebody offers to tell you how good it is without you asking.
That's it.
Yeah.
So this is really impressive that and it's successful and made us proud that without further advertising or further tests or criticism, the people buy it blind and then come back and say they are really overwhelmed them. Not only convinced, they are overwhelmed by this accessory.
Yeah.
We're not pushing these because if you start pushing something that is a bit dubious for many people who don't understand it.
Certainly controversial. I don't know about dubious, but controversial.
Snake oil, you want to rip me off and whatever. We just have them, and who wants them can get them. 2 weeks ago, two excellent other companies came and said, we've heard of those. We're doing the HiFi Roma show, the big Italian hi-fi show. Can you lend us some? Okay, we sent a package down there, and that was the topic of the show.
Yeah.
That they ordered the stuff, they wanted it,
and we all know how difficult it is, this kind of accessory to install this during a show, that you get to really hear and listen to a difference. So this is very difficult to install now.
Yeah.
On a show, because the rooms are always not very easy. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, what do we want to talk about to bring this to a close today? Any final thoughts from all of you?
I have a good one. I think I see behind you. I see you have some, don't you? Gausses in your system.
I've been using them since you first brought these out in, I think it was like July of last year. And I've had them in play. You can't see them behind me right now because the system's over there. But yeah, I'm using them. I thought that was apparent from the fact that I said, but I guess it makes sense to mention it. But they're absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I'll have a lot of pictures with this video of them in my installation. The can shots you guys have. There'll be pictures in here, plenty of them. So don't worry about that.
Maybe we could talk a bit about what's happening sonically, because we've been talking about the material all the time.
I started down that path, but you didn't follow me. I don't know what happened.
I need a drink badly.
Go ahead.
But this is a good idea to have every one of us describing what you experience once you have this in your setup. So Jan, tell me, because we tried this in your setup in Hamburg together.
Yeah, what happens is things get clearer. It really clears the air for the sound. Microdynamics are much better. Transients are just more natural. And voices grow more believable. Pianos sound like real good pianos, not like some recorded shit.
Recording permitting, of course, obviously. They don't make magic out of crap, but if the recording's good,
of course.
Yeah.
I think Wilfried, the Dan Audio founder, he said we should quote him by saying, was an engineer sentence, this makes music much more clear and more orderly. I don't know.
Well, I heard it changed everything, and rather than overwhelm everybody with just the biggest changes, I think that stood out were dynamics, both on the macro and the micro level.
That was the strongest thing for me, Bill.
It's the dynamics and the space. The space in the sound field. And so if I'm going to talk about two things, that would be the two things I would talk about. And with that space, Jan, goes the clarity as well.
And it's
Stefan.
May I amend this a little bit together with the equipment. These Gauss can only help to bring to reveal what is in the sound signal, and what the amplifier can provide. So if you were talking about transients, about speed, about more clarity, there's always a question also that an amplifier, the audio amplifiers are famous for that they can deliver speed, that they can deliver speed and clarity. And once you have it's a play together between the amplifier and the cable now lifted and to be clear to bring these things which are on the CD or on the disc whatsoever, to bring this in the clarity to the loudspeaker. So this is what finally works together.
You're bringing it together right now, and I hadn't put the two together until right now. But yeah, this is Audionet rules in dynamics and space and clarity. I mean, this defines Audionet, and
Pretty much.
son of a gun.
Well, gentlemen, listen. Let's wind this up. Any final thoughts from anybody? What would you like to bring up that we haven't talked about, guys?
I'll just say, you want to order them. They're going to be on my webpage. You can give us a call, and yeah, we're happy to help.
Thank you again, Greg.
It was so fun to some extent, and also so nice idea to have us together from 4 places in the world talk about this new cable lifter in high-end technology. So from my side, it's thank you very much, you, Greg, for this opportunity to have this ease and simple discussion on this novelty from our side.
Well, Stefan, it was absolutely my pleasure to have you guys here.
Gentlemen,
thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for pointing to my little curiosity with these things as being the inspiration that got them going. And I got to tell you, I think they're pretty sexy and pretty effective. So, what else can you ask for? All right. Everybody, have a great day. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care.
Greg.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. This remarkable, patented paramagnetic device not only has the measurements and listening tests to support its benefits, but it will make a very attractive addition to any audio installation. In closing, I want to reiterate that your experience with the Gauss lifters may vary. It can be very dependent on any number of factors. First, the effects may be considerably less apparent with very inexpensive systems, and they tend to be more significant as the level of performance of your gear increases. Then, two, factors like cable design and floor coverings may have a significant impact. As you may suspect, shielded versus non-shielded cables, as well as the chosen floor covering, may have widely varying effects. Other advantages to getting our cables off the floor that we didn't address here today are the further minimization of mechanical energy and static electric interaction. As always, thanks for taking time to drop in today. Please stay safe and keep the music playing. And because the response to the Martini survey was more than 2-to-1 in favor of resurrecting its appearance, till next time, cheers.